The church bells were still echoing when chaos struck. A gust of wind shattered the stained glass window, shards raining down like a prophecy. The bride dropped her bouquet. Gasps rippled through the room like a wave breaking across shore. Anna stood frozen, her white dress clinging like a second skin, her heart pounding in her chest like it wanted to flee. Her lips trembled as her son, only 4, pointed toward the aisle, wide-eyed and pale. He whispered, "Mommy, that's him. That's my real daddy." Time stopped. The crowd turned, confused, searching. And there he was, tall, fierce, and utterly out of place. Black suit, untamed hair, and eyes that blazed like stormfire. Alpha Darius. Not a man. A beast in human skin. And he was here. The groom took a step forward, fists clenched, but his feet faltered. Darius growled low, possessive. "She was mine before she was yours." Anna staggered back, her breath caught between terror and something darker, something she'd buried deep. "You swore never to come back," Anna whispered, voice cracking. Darius said, "You swore to keep him from me." The child whimpered. The priest dropped his Bible. Candles flickered violently. No one dared move. Anna's heart screamed, torn between 2 lives. Her past just crashed her present, and it wasn't done yet. Anna's legs trembled as she stepped back, the hem of her dress dragging like a chain. Her groom called her name, but it sounded distant, like a memory she couldn't reach. All she saw was Darius, unchanged, terrifying, magnetic. "Why now?" she asked, voice raw. Darius' lips curled in a bitter smirk. "Because you lied. You took him from me." Her breath caught. The truth had claws. She wanted to run, but her son clung to her leg, confused and afraid. "Please," she whispered, though she didn't know who she was pleading to. Darius looked at the boy, and something dark and broken flickered in his eyes. "He deserves to know what he is," he said. The guests started murmuring, unsure if this was madness or destiny. Anna turned slowly, shielding her child. "Don't you dare touch him." Darius didn't move, but his voice dropped like thunder. "You kept my heir hidden. That ends now." Outside, thunder cracked the sky open. This wasn't a wedding. It was a reckoning. The storm outside seemed to echo Anna's panic. Her mind raced with every reason she had kept the secret, every night she cried alone, and every time she dreamed Darius would stay away. But fate wasn't merciful. It brought him now, in front of everyone. She took a deep breath. "I raised him alone," she said, "because you were a monster." Darius flinched, but didn't break. "You were my mate, and you vanished." Anna clenched her fists. "You wanted a queen. I wanted to be free." Lightning lit the stained walls in pale flashes. Her son whimpered again. The crowd started to rise, unsure of what they were witnessing. "What do you want, Darius?" she asked. His voice was like steel. "I want what's mine." Gasps grew louder as Darius took a slow step forward. The ground beneath Anna seemed to shift. Her past was walking toward her, his scent, his presence, everything that once consumed her. The groom stepped between them. "This is over. Leave." Darius didn't even blink. "Touch her again, and you'll regret it." Anna grabbed her child and took a shaky breath. The child looked at Darius, then back at her. "Is he really my daddy?" he asked softly. Anna's soul cracked. "Yes," she whispered. Darius reached out a hand. "Come with me." Anna shook her head. "You don't get to demand anything," he replied. "Then I'll take you." The church erupted in shouting. The groom lunged at Darius. Anna screamed. People backed away as chaos spilled into the sacred space. Darius dodged with animal grace, catching the groom by the throat and slamming him into a pew. Anna covered her son's eyes. Her heart shattered. This was the man she once loved and feared. He looked at her, chest heaving. "You can't keep him from me. He's mine." Tears streamed down her face. "He's not a pawn." Outside, the storm reached its peak. Darius stepped back, jaw clenched. You made this war, Anna. I'm just answering it. And just like that, he turned and vanished into the night, leaving shattered vows and unanswered questions in his wake. The forest felt like an endless sea of shadows, each tree towering over Anna as if to swallow her whole. She could feel the cool air biting at her skin as she moved through the underbrush, her feet slipping over rocks and roots. Jonah clung to her side, his small hand gripping hers with a desperation that matched her own. "Mommy, where are we going?" Jonah's voice was small, trembling. Anna swallowed, her throat dry. "We're going somewhere safe, baby. Somewhere far away from them." The crack of a twig behind her made her spin around, heart racing. Nothing. But she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that every rustle of the trees was a predator on their trail. Darius' scent still lingered on the air, the unmistakable trace of him in the wind. She shuddered, her chest tightening with a familiar unwelcome ache. No. She couldn't think about him. She had to focus. Jonah needed her. But the forest felt like a prison, and the past was closing in fast. Every step felt like it could be their last. She tightened her grip on Jonah's hand. "We'll keep moving until we're safe," she whispered, more to herself than to him. The forest seemed endless, stretching on without end. They had been walking for hours, but Anna couldn't bring herself to rest. The world was too quiet, too still. Jonah's small voice broke the silence. "Mommy, I'm tired." Anna stopped and turned to him, her heart aching. He was so small, and she had asked so much of him. She crouched down, her hands gentle on his shoulders. "I know, baby, I know. We'll rest soon. But I need you to be strong for me, okay?" Jonah nodded, but the sadness in his eyes made her want to pull him close and hide from everything. She stood, scanning the surroundings. The silence was oppressive, too heavy. There was something wrong. She could feel the weight of eyes on her, but she couldn't pinpoint where the danger lay. The moment stretched, suspended in fear. Then, in the distance, she saw it. A shadow moving between the trees. "Jonah," she whispered, her voice low and tense. "Stay close." He nodded, sensing the change in her tone, and followed her closely as she moved towards the edge of the clearing. Every step felt like a risk, but there was no choice. She had to keep him safe. The shadow was no illusion. It stepped into the clearing, tall and imposing, its presence filling the space. Anna's breath caught in her throat. "I told you, you can't run forever." A deep voice rumbled from the shadows. "Darius. The Alpha. .. Her heart skipped a beat, fear and anger crashing inside her. "Why can't you just leave us alone?" she demanded, her voice shaking but defiant. Darius stepped forward, his face partially hidden by the darkness, but his eyes gleamed with that familiar, terrifying intensity. "Because you're mine, Anna, I will always find you." Anna's pulse raced. She took a step back, pulling Jonah protectively to her side. "Not anymore," she said, her voice more confident than she felt. "I don't belong to you." The silence between them was suffocating. Darius took another step forward, but Anna stood firm, the weight of their history hanging in the air. "You don't have to do this," he said softly, almost pleading. "You can come back." "No," she whispered, her heart breaking. "I won't go back to that life. I won't let you take him." His expression softened for a fraction of a second, but it quickly disappeared. "You can't protect him from me." Anna didn't reply. She didn't need to. She would protect him with her life. Darius' presence was suffocating, his aura overwhelming. Anna's heart pounded in her chest, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she held Jonah close. "Please," she whispered, her voice strained. "Please just let us go." Darius shook his head slowly, his expression unreadable. "You don't understand, Anna. This isn't just about you. It's about what's coming." Anna's mind raced. What did he mean? What was coming? She stood taller, her body trembling, but her resolve hardening. "I don't care what's coming. I care about my son, and I will protect him from you." Darius' eyes flickered with something that almost looked like regret, but it was gone in an instant. "I can't let you go," he said quietly, stepping closer. Anna held her ground. "Then I'll fight you. I'll fight you with everything I have." For a moment, Darius just stared at her, as if trying to read something in her face. Finally, he sighed. "I never wanted this to be a fight," he said, voice almost sad. "But you left me no choice." Anna knew that the battle wasn't just about her. It was about the future, her future, Jonah's future. And no matter what, she would not let it be controlled by the past. Darius' words echoed in the silence as he took one last step forward, his presence nearly suffocating. Anna held her ground, every fiber of her being focused on protecting Jonah. "Don't make me do this," Darius warned, his voice low but forceful. Anna's heart raced. She knew this moment was coming, but she wasn't ready. She had to be. She couldn't lose him. "I won't let you take him," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But the determination behind her words was clear. Darius looked at her, his eyes flickering with something close to sorrow. "You don't understand. I never wanted to be your enemy. Then why did you make me one?" Anna asked, her voice shaking. Darius took a step back, as if something inside him had shifted. "I didn't make you my enemy, Anna. I made you my mate." Anna felt the ground beneath her shake. The bond. The truth of it was now too clear. "I'm not yours," she said, her voice stronger now. "I'm my own, and I won't let you control us anymore." The air between them crackled with intensity. Darius's expression hardened. "Then you leave me no choice." Anna pulled Jonah closer, her eyes never leaving his. "You've already made your choice." Anna awoke to firelight, flickering across the cave walls. Her son was asleep beside her, curled beneath the stolen cloak. Her head throbbed, but it wasn't from exhaustion. It was the bond. It pulsed like a second heartbeat inside her skull. She stood quietly, stepping into the night air, breath misting in the cold. A storm was building, not in the sky, but in her blood. She felt it in her bones. He was getting closer. Darius wasn't just tracking her, he was calling to her. She stumbled to the edge of the cliff that overlooked the valley, clutching her chest. A memory surged, his lips on her neck, the night of their claiming. She screamed into the night. The sound tore through the trees like a wounded animal. Her knees buckled. Behind her, a voice broke the silence. "You still feel it, don't you?" Anna spun around. Darius stood at the tree line. No warning. No sound. Just presence. "I hate you," she whispered. He stepped closer. "No, you remember me." Anna's heart cracked again. Her body trembled, not from fear, from recognition. "You came to take him," Anna said, fists clenched. Darius tilted his head. "I came to bring you both home." Anna laughed bitterly. "That place isn't home. It's a cage." Darius stepped forward. "You belong with your pack." Anna raised her chin. "I left that behind. I made a new life." Darius' eyes flared gold. "You can't change what you are." She flinched, feeling the bond tug tighter. "You marked me without consent." Darius' voice softened. "But you never rejected it." Anna's mouth opened, then closed. The truth hung heavy in the air. She turned away, but he reached for her wrist gently. "You feel it still. Deny it all you want." Anna yanked her arm free. "I'm not yours to claim." Darius looked down. "But you are mine. And I never stopped being yours." Tears stung her eyes. The past wasn't dead. It was hunting her heart. Anna pushed past Darius, storming back toward the cave. "You can't just show up and rewrite the past." Darius followed. "I didn't come to rewrite it. I came to face it." She stopped at the cave mouth, blocking the entrance with her body. "He's asleep. You don't get to see him." Darius's voice cracked. "He's mine." Anna turned sharply. "You weren't there when he cried at night, when I held him through the fever. Where were you?" He looked gutted. I didn't know. She whispered, you didn't ask. Darius stepped back, wounded. I made mistakes, but he shouldn't suffer for them. The wind howled around them. The cave glowed faintly, with firelight. He knows something's missing, Anna admitted. But he doesn't need you to fix it. Darius looked at the ground. What if he wants to know me? Anna's silence spoke louder than her words. The choice wasn't hers anymore. Inside the cave, Anna watched her son sleep, his small hand clutched around a pine cone like it was treasure. Her back ached from the weight of running, hiding, deciding. Darius stood just outside the light, silent. He looks like you, he said quietly. Anna didn't answer. He has your strength, Darius added. But your eyes. Anna turned. You don't get to romanticize this. I'm trying to understand, he said. You're trying to be something other than the monster you think I am. Anna's voice trembled. You were cruel. You let me rot in your pack's rule. Darius stepped into the light. Then let me make amends. Anna's eyes burned. You can't undo what you did. Darius crouched beside her son, just close enough to see. I don't want to undo it. I want to start from here. The fire popped. The cave walls flickered with shadows. A fragile piece hovered in the air, but it trembled. Morning crept into the cave with a pale glow. Anna sat with her knees hugged to her chest, watching the fire die. Darius hadn't slept. He sat across from her, eyes fixed on the boy. I never asked for any of this, Anna said, voice hoarse. Darius looked up. Neither did I, but here we are. She closed her eyes. I dreamed of killing you. Every night for years. Darius didn't flinch. I deserve that. She opened her eyes. But last night when I saw you, I remembered something else too. His breath hitched. What? She hesitated. The way you used to hold me, before everything broke. Silence settled like dust. Then she asked, do you still dream of me? Darius answered without hesitation. Every damn night. She didn't cry. But something inside her shifted. Not forgiveness, but fracture. And the crack let something through she hadn't felt in years. Not love, but maybe the start of something living. Anna couldn't sleep. The weight of the night was pressing against her chest. Darius had been watching the horizon since dawn, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Her son was asleep beside her, his little breaths shallow and soft. But in the distance, something was moving, an unsettling rhythm in the air. Why are you here? Anna whispered. Nay. Darius didn't turn around. You know why? Anna clenched her jaw. No, I don't. He sighed, the sound heavy. The bloodline doesn't let you go. You know that. She stood, suddenly furious. You think I wanted this life? You think I wanted to raise my son in fear? Darius turned to her, his gaze hard but sad. Fear? No, Anna. It's not about fear. It's about power. Anna took a step back. Not anymore. He reached out, but she stepped away. Don't touch me. The world around them seemed to pulse with the threat of impending change. Something in her gut twisted. She didn't know what it was, but she knew this wasn't just about her and Darius. Her son had a future. But the past was coming back to take it. Anna couldn't escape the feeling that she was being watched. She tried to shake it off, but the tension had been growing between them. Darius was hiding something. She could feel it in her bones. The crackling of a distant fire broke the silence. Her gaze shot to Darius, but he wasn't looking at her anymore. He was focused on something far off, something she couldn't see. You're lying, she said, her voice harsh. Darius glanced at her, his eyes unreadable. I never lie to you. No, she said, stepping toward him, her heart thundering in her chest. You just withhold the truth. He turned fully now, meeting her gaze. The truth isn't always a gift, Anna. Her chest tightened. What are you hiding from me? Darius hesitated, his lips curling into a slight frown. Everything I've done for you and him. For us. Anna stepped back, shaking her head. Don't make this sound noble. I'm not, Darius said, his voice lowering. I'm just telling you what's coming, and you're not going to like it. Before she could respond, he turned away, walking into the shadows. The silence between them had never been louder. Anna's legs felt like they were carrying the weight of the entire world as she chased after him. Her breaths came in sharp bursts as she pushed through the brush, but Darius was always just ahead. Stop, she shouted. Darius didn't respond. His long strides ate up the ground faster than she could keep up, but she was determined to know. Her foot caught a branch and she stumbled. When she looked up, he was gone. She was standing at the edge of the cliff again. The storm was back. Where did you go? She whispered, but the wind answered, howling like a beast. And then, from behind her, a voice that wasn't Darius. Looking for someone? Anna spun around. Her eyes widened as she recognized the figure. A tall, imposing man with fiery red hair and eyes burning with unholy light. Her breath caught. No, she whispered. You're alive, he finished for her. And it's time you remembered. The ground beneath Anna shifted. Her knees buckled. The Alpha, the one she had escaped, was here. I thought I was free, Anna whispered, her voice trembling. I thought I escaped. The man smiled darkly. Escape is an illusion. I left everything behind, she said, the words tasting bitter on her tongue. No, the man corrected. You didn't leave, you ran. Her heart raced as she stepped back. The ground felt like it was slipping beneath her. I've done nothing wrong, she protested, desperate. I did what I had to do. The man's expression softened, but it didn't reach his eyes. Everyone makes choices, but there are always consequences. The question is, can you live with yours? Anna clenched her fists. I've survived, she spat. The man's eyes darkened. That's not the same as living, Anna. You'll soon understand that. The wind picked up again, and with it, a shadow larger than before swept over them both. Darius was back. He stepped into the clearing, his face hard, his eyes filled with fury. You're not getting away with this, he growled. Darius' words were a death sentence. Anna's heart pounded as the world seemed to collapse around her. The man's smirk faltered for a brief moment, but he quickly regained control. Darius stepped forward. You've made a mess of everything, but now you'll have to clean it up. Anna felt the walls close in around her. The bloodline was closing in. The pack was coming for her son. She couldn't outrun them any longer. The storm roared in her ears. Her thoughts scrambled. The bond was pulling her in two directions. Darius stood in front of her, but there was no warmth left, only cold obligation. I didn't choose this life, she whispered. I chose freedom. The man smiled grimly. And now you'll pay the price for that choice. Darius' gaze softened for a fleeting moment. It's not too late to come back, Anna. The weight of the past crashed down on her. She wasn't sure where the future began. But she knew, in that moment, there was no way out. The world seemed to shrink, the storm closing in, swirling around Anna like a living thing. She stood frozen between Darius and the stranger, her heart pounding, her breath shallow. You don't have to do this, Darius said, his voice low, rough. Come back. We'll fix everything. Anna's eyes flicked to the stranger, his cold eyes never leaving her face. And him, she asked, voice trembling. Darius hesitated, his hand twitching at his side. He won't stop until you're ours. I can't stop him. But you... Anna shook her head. I won't be anyone's possession. The stranger stepped forward, his presence suffocating. Not even your son's future. Anna's blood ran cold. She looked down at her son, clutching her leg, eyes wide with fear. Leave him out of this, Anna spat. But the stranger just smiled, a dangerous glint in his eyes. It's too late for that. Darius stepped in front of her, protective but cold. You don't have to face this alone, Anna. But she didn't know what was worse, the man standing before her or the man she once loved. Anna's body shook with anger, but it wasn't the storm that made her tremble. It was the truth. She could see it now, Darius's silence, the way he stepped between her and the stranger, as if protecting her, but also trapping her. You never let me go, Anna said, her voice barely more than a whisper. I tried to break free, but you kept pulling me back. Darius turned to her, his face pained. I never wanted to hurt you. No, she said, voice rising now. You just wanted control. You wanted to keep me in your world, in your pack, in your power. The stranger sneered. Enough of this sentimental nonsense. The bloodline is too strong. It's time to claim what's ours. Anna clenched her fists. I'm not yours to claim. Darius reached out, his voice desperate. Please, Anna, don't do this. You don't understand what's at stake. But Anna knew. She understood better than anyone. The cost of freedom was more than she could have ever prepared for. Anna turned her back to them, taking a deep breath, trying to hold it all together. The cold wind bit at her skin, but it wasn't enough to numb the ache in her chest. Her son tugged at her sleeve, his voice small and scared. Mommy, I'm scared. Anna knelt down, her heart breaking as she cupped his face in her hands. It's okay, baby, we're going to be okay, I promise. But she didn't know if she could keep that promise. The storm raged around them, and Anna could feel the tension in the air, like the world was holding its breath. Suddenly, she heard Darius' voice behind her. Anna, you can't protect him from everything. I can try, she said, standing up, her eyes locked with his. I can, at least try. The stranger laughed, a hollow, cruel sound. You're fighting a war you can't win. Anna's hands shook, but her voice was steady. Then I'll die fighting. With that, she turned to face them. The storm was nothing compared to the war that was coming. Anna took one last look at her son, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. She couldn't stop the storm from coming, but she would not let it destroy them. Darius moved closer, his steps heavy and slow. This is how it ends, Anna, with you and me. Anna raised her chin, tears mixing with the rain on her face. I'm not yours. I never was. Darius's eyes flickered with something. Regret, pain, maybe even love. But it was too late for that. The stranger's voice broke the silence. Enough talk. Anna turned sharply to face him. The time for words was over. The time for choices had ended. The stranger raised his hands. You'll see soon enough, Anna. The bloodline claims what's its own. As he spoke, the ground beneath them trembled, a warning. A flash of light exploded in the sky. Darius's expression hardened, and Anna knew this was the final moment. The time for running was over. Everything happened in a blur. The wind screamed like an animal in pain, the ground shook beneath their feet. Darius lunged toward her, but Anna was faster. She grabbed her son and ran, ignoring the voice in her head that screamed at her to stop. Her feet flew over the wet ground, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The storm didn't slow her down, didn't stop her from pushing forward. Behind her, she heard Darius calling her name. Anna. But she couldn't stop. Not now. Not after everything that had happened. And then, the earth gave way. Anna barely had time to scream as she fell. The world went black. Everything stopped. The storm. The rain. The world itself. And then, only the sound of her heart, pounding in the silence. Anna's eyes flickered open, but the world around her was dark. Too dark. Her body ached, every muscle strained as if she had been pulled apart and put back together. A low groan escaped her lips, and she tried to move. But something heavy pressed down on her. She could hear the sound of rushing water nearby, the river. But why couldn't she remember how she had gotten here? A sharp pain in her side made her gasp. Mommy? A small voice asked. Her heart lurched. Jonah? She whispered, feeling for him. Her son's hand slipped into hers, small and warm. I'm here, baby, she murmured, pulling him close. Where are we? He asked, his voice trembling. Anna blinked, her mind still hazy, but her instinct screamed at her to stay calm. They were alive. That was enough for now. She felt her chest tightening, the bond tugging again, distant but undeniable. Darius was still out there, and the Alpha's bloodline was coming for them. But this time, Anna had no intention of letting it break her. Anna sat up slowly, her head spinning as she looked around. They had fallen, but the fall hadn't been as far as she feared. The steep riverbank had broken their descent, though it left them trapped in the wilderness with nowhere to run. Jonah clung to her, his small form shaking against hers. I'm scared, he whispered, his words barely audible. Anna kissed his forehead, whispering back, It's okay, baby, I'm here. She glanced at the sky, clouds were breaking, and the stars started to appear, faint but steady. It felt like a sign, but it also felt like the calm before a storm. Behind them a branch cracked. Anna's heart skipped a beat, and she instantly sprang to her feet, her protective instincts flaring. Stay behind me, she whispered, taking Jonah's hand firmly in hers. The darkness shifted, and a figure emerged from the trees, tall and familiar. Darius. He was here, and she wasn't sure if this was a second chance, or the final confrontation. You followed us, Anna said, her voice shaking with a mix of disbelief and anger. Why, Darius? Why couldn't you just leave us alone? Darius' face was harder than she remembered, like stone. His eyes, though, betrayed something more. Something deep. Anna, he said softly, you know I can't leave you. Not when this bloodline is tied to you. To him. She flinched. I don't care about your bloodline. I care about my son. Darius took a step closer, his expression torn. I never meant for it to be this way. Then why did you come? Anna asked, her voice rising now. Why bring him into this? Into your legacy of blood and power? Darius' jaw clenched. Because he's mine. Anna stepped back. No, Darius. He's mine. I raised him. I protected him. You're just a shadow from the past. The wind picked up again, swirling around them. Darius stood still, his gaze fixed on her, and for the first time, Anna saw the real torment behind his eyes. Then, why do you feel it? He asked. Why do you still feel the pull of this? The bond. She felt it now more than ever, the tug pulling her toward him. But Anna wasn't going to break. Not this time. Anna's breath was shallow, her hands trembling as she tightened her grip on Jonah's hand. She refused to look at Darius. She couldn't let him see how much she was struggling. Darius took another step toward her. Anna, stop running. I never wanted this fight. But Anna's resolve only hardened. Then why didn't you fight for us? For me? Darius' face twisted, as though her words cut him deeper than he could admit. I fought, but I lost. And now, I'm trying to make things right. Make things right. Anna scoffed. You can't undo what you've done, you can't fix what's broken. The wind howled, drowning out her words. The storm was returning. She could feel it in the air. I'm done with you, Darius, Anna said, her voice low but resolute. And I'm done with this life. Darius stood motionless, the storm now fully upon them. I don't want to lose you again. Anna's gaze softened for the briefest moment. But the bond was broken, and it would stay that way. She turned to Jonah, took his hand and walked away. Away from the past. Away from Darius. Anna and Jonah walked into the night, their footsteps the only sound amidst the storm. The wind howled in their ears. But Anna didn't stop. She couldn't stop. For the first time she felt free, unburdened. But that freedom came with its own weight. Her son clung to her, and she held him tightly. She whispered to him, It's just us now, just you and me. Jonah looked up at her, his innocent eyes filled with questions. Will we be okay? Anna didn't hesitate. We will, I'll make sure of it. The storm raged on, but Anna knew one thing. She had survived. She had fought for her son's future, and for the first time, she was truly free. The night stretched on, and with every step, she left her past behind. No bloodline. No legacy. Just the promise of tomorrow. The storm had passed. The night sky now glowed with stars, clear and full, as though the heavens themselves were holding their breath. Anna stood in the small clearing, her hand resting gently on Jonah's shoulder. "It's just us now," she whispered, looking at him with a fierce tenderness. Jonah's small hand grasped hers. "Mommy, are we safe?" Anna smiled softly. "We are, baby. I'll always protect you." As they walked along the quiet forest path, Anna's heart slowly began to calm. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in years, she felt like she could face it. There were no more chains. No more bloodlines. Just a path that stretched before them. But somewhere in the distance she felt it. The faintest echo of a presence, the last whisper of something familiar. She shook it off, reminding herself that she was free. They were free. No more fear. No more ties. And yet, a small part of her wondered if she could ever truly escape the past. Days passed as they traveled, seeking shelter where they could, always moving forward. Anna didn't look back. She couldn't. But the absence of Darius's presence still haunted her. She had lived with him for so long, had been so entangled in his world, that even in his absence, his shadow lingered over them. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jonah tugged at her sleeve. "Mommy, I feel something," he said quietly, looking over his shoulder. Anna's heart skipped. She turned sharply, scanning the distance. The hairs on the back of her neck stood up. "I don't feel anything," she said softly, trying to steady her breath. But deep inside, she knew. The pull. The bond. It was still there. Darius had once held a place in her soul, and no matter how far she ran, that connection would never fully sever. But she wouldn't let it consume her. Not again. "Stay close," she told Jonah, her voice firm. As they continued walking, Anna promised herself that no matter what the future held, she would never let the past break them again. It wasn't until they reached the outskirts of a small village that Anna allowed herself to rest. They found a place to stay, a small cottage at the edge of the woods, quiet and isolated. For the first time in what felt like forever, Anna slept without fear, without worry. But that night, in the quiet of the cottage, she dreamt of Darius. The dream was not of love or anger, but of understanding. In her dream, he stood at the edge of a cliff, the storm long gone, the sky clear. He turned to look at her. His eyes were not filled with rage, but with a strange, resigned sadness. "Anna," he said, his voice distant but clear, "I never wanted to be your enemy." Anna didn't respond. She didn't need to. The dream faded, leaving her with the soft whisper of his words. The truth was, she had never truly hated him. She had hated what he had become, and what she had let him make her. But the dream was over, and Anna woke to a new day. A new beginning. The village was a far cry from the wilderness, and for the first time in years, Anna allowed herself to imagine a life that didn't involve constant running. A life where Jonah could grow up free of the bloodline, free of the chains that had bound her. But even as she made this decision, a part of her still felt the tug. It wasn't Darius' presence anymore, but the remnants of their bond, of everything that had come before. She and Jonah were safe here. But the past had a way of creeping in. Anna couldn't deny that a part of her wondered if Darius would come looking for them again. Jonah had already asked about him, asked about his father. Anna had told him the truth, as best as she could. "He's part of you, but he's not your future." It was the hardest thing she had ever said. But it was the truth. And sometimes, truth was all she could offer. She was ready to move on. But would Darius ever let her go? Weeks passed, and the sense of peace that Anna had longed for began to settle in. The small village, with its quiet mornings and simple rhythms, became a home. Jonah grew more confident, his laughter no longer tinged with fear. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Jonah looked up at her with wide eyes. Mommy, do you think we'll be okay forever? Anna's heart softened. She pulled him close, kissing his forehead. Yes, baby, we'll be okay. And in that moment, for the first time in a long time, Anna believed it. The past was gone. The storm had passed. The future was theirs to shape, free from the shadows that once haunted them. No bloodlines, no pacts. Just the promise of a life without fear. And though she couldn't forget Darius, she no longer needed him to define who she was. It was time for a new chapter. A new beginning. Together. Almi and